When you know something that affects you is wrong, you have a choice to make. Do you try to change it, or let it change you? People growing up in the United States during the Civil Rights Movement had to choose a side as that nation's African American, or Negro, population struggled to gain equal rights with white Americans. This dangerous and vibrant era is the backdrop for David T. Greenberg's novel, A Tugging String. 12-year-old Duvie Greenberg is a young white boy who is trying to gain new friends at school. His father, Jack, is a civil rights lawyer who takes a lot of trips to the southern states in order to defend Negro clients. Duvie is concerned for his father every time he travels from home and fears for his safety. Far down south in Selma, Alabama, a young Negro woman named Dorothy Milton struggles to register to vote in a state that refuses to grant Negroes the same privileges as whites. After she is rejected several times by the voting office's white workers for silly reasons, Dorothy and her husband Hector help organize a march from Selma to Alabama's capital, Montgomery, to urge the state governor to appeal to the recently passed Voting Rights Act. Dorothy fears for her safety, and the safety of everyone else who plans to march with her. Dorothy and Duvie live hundreds of miles apart, but their stories both reflect the trials of their time. This novel does not focus on any particular point in the civil rights movement, even though the Selma to Montgomery March is mentioned the most often. Greenberg uses broad strokes so the reader can better picture each scene. Many different names are mentioned, some fictional and some real. Some of the events are actually based on cases Greenberg's father, who is also named Jack, took as a civil rights lawyer in the 1960s, while other events are made just to entertain the reader. There are also little footnotes on some pages where the author explains to the reader why they wrote something in a specific way. You might be surprised, but all of these points didn't distract or pull me out of the story, which was what I really wanted to read. Many other civil rights stories use protesting to show that era's hatred against racism and segregation. This novel uses protesting as a way to stand up for what you believe in, even if you just walk down the street holding signs and singing songs. Protesting gets people noticed, for good or bad reasons. Sometimes it gets ignored and nothing changes. Sometimes it gets violently shut down as people are arrested or beaten. The Negroes of the 1960s had to be very brave to publicly protest laws that had been in effect for over a century at the time, and they had to work hard for people to notice what they were fighting for. If you saw protests like this in your town or city, would you feel inspired to join them? A Tugging String is 160 pages long, including photographs and additional postscripts by the author and his father. It plays like a feature film, switching from the trials of one American family to hundreds of American people as they all try to figure out what they know is right in their hearts. If you want to march alongside these characters, the novel is available to read in the middle school library.